The Forbidden Ascent. What the travel guides don't tell you about Giza. Sounds like the title of a gripping travel exposé, or perhaps a fictional thriller steeped in archaeological mystery. If you're referring to real-world access to the Giza Plateau, here's what most guidebooks do leave out. The Cairo airport exhales heat even at midnight thick, diesel-laced air that clings like a second skin. I'd come with a tourist visa, a backpack, and a notebook filled with questions no academic would dare publish. My official itinerary listed cultural tourism. My real purpose? To listen. Because Giza doesn't just stand, it watches. You won't find this in Lonely Planet or on the Ministry of Tourism's glossy brochures. They show sun-drenched postcards. The Sphinx smiling serenely. Pyramids glowing gold at sunset. Vendors selling papyrus with neon hieroglyphs. What they omit is the shadow that stretches longer than the monuments themselves, the silence that gathers in the spaces between stones, the way time thickens near the base of Khufu's pyramid like resin in ancient wood. I checked into a rooftop hostel in Giza, just beyond the tourist zone, where the call to prayer mingled with the distant groan of construction cranes. That first night, I met a man named Rashid. Not a guide, not a scholar, but a former antiquities guard who'd been quietly dismissed after asking too many questions about anomalies beneath the Sphinx's paws. Over mint tea and bitter coffee, he leaned in and said, "They tell you the pyramids were tombs, but no pharaoh was ever buried inside with his name carved in stone. No sarcophagus has ever held a body. And the real chambers? They're not above, they're below. Far below." Then he showed me a faded photograph. A narrow shaft, descending into darkness, marked only with a symbol that looked like an eye within a spiral. This was taken in 1998. The site was sealed the next day. No records, no explanation. He handed me a key, not metal, but a small black stone carved with the same spiral. "If you're serious," he said, "go at the third hour after midnight, when the moon is waning, and never speak its name aloud." 2 nights later, under a sky so clear it felt like glass, I returned. The plateau was empty. The usual floodlights had been dimmed for a VIP diplomatic visit, security distracted, cameras angled elsewhere. Using Rashid's directions, I slipped past a rusted service gate near the southeast corner of the causeway, where erosion had exposed a fissure in the bedrock. It wasn't on any map, not even Google Earth showed it. I crawled through a space no wider than my shoulders, the limestone scraping my back. The air grew colder with every meter, and then a drop. I landed in a chamber, unlike anything Egyptology has cataloged. No glyphs, no offerings, just smooth, seamless walls that curved like the inside of a seashell. In the center, a circular dais, worn smooth by what? Feet? Wheels? Something else? Then I saw the water. A still, obsidian pool, no more than 3 meters across, sat recessed into the floor. Its surface wasn't reflecting my headlamp, it was reflecting the sky, impossibly. Not the sky above Cairo in 2025, but a celestial arrangement I recognized from forbidden papers I'd read in a locked archive in Alexandria. The sky, as it appeared 12,500 years ago, during the last glacial maximum. Orion's belt was tilted 30 degrees lower. The Milky Way arched differently. And there, where modern astronomy sees empty space, burned a star labeled only as Neb Heru in a fragmented papyrus Rashid had once shown me. The star that woke the land. I dipped my fingers into the pool. The water didn't ripple. It absorbed like ink into parchment. Then, from deep below, a vibration rose. Not sound, not tremor, a pulse, 3 beats. Then silence. I backed away, heart roaring. On the wall opposite the pool, I noticed something I'd missed. A series of shallow handprints, not carved, pressed into the stone while it was still soft. And they weren't human-sized. The next day, I visited the so-called Menkaure Valley Temple. Now a fenced-off ruin tourists rush past on their way to the camel rides. But Rashid had whispered a clue. The third pyramid guards the memory. Beneath a collapsed column, half buried in sand, I found a stone slab with a carving that defied chronology. A figure in a long robe, arms raised not to a god, but to a pyramid-shaped object floating in the sky, trailing light. Around it, smaller figures knelt not in worship, but in observation. Nearby, a broken alabaster tablet bore inscriptions in a dialect older than Old Kingdom Egyptian. A linguist I'd contacted in Prague later translated fragments. When the eye returns, the stone will sing. The sleepers shall rise. The sky will remember its promise. Even more unsettling, carbon dating of organic residue on the tablet placed it before 10,000 BCE. How? The consensus says writing didn't exist then. Civilization didn't exist then, unless it did and was erased. They say climbing the Great Pyramid is impossible, dangerous, illegal, but I did it. Not for thrills, not for Instagram. I went up because the dream told me to. For 3 nights, I dreamed of standing at the apex, facing north, holding Rashid's black stone to the sky. On the 4th night, during a sandstorm that grounded all flights and emptied the plateau, I went. The wind howled like a lament. Sand stung my eyes. Each block, 2.5 tons of limestone, was slick, uneven, treacherous. Halfway up, I slipped. My hand caught on a protrusion that shouldn't have been there. A metal ring fused into the stone, cold as ice and etched with that same spiral eye. I pulled myself up, trembling. At the summit, there was no capstone, only a flat platform, barely wide enough to stand, and in its center, a depression shaped like a human skull. I placed the black stone inside. For a moment, nothing. Then, the wind stopped. Absolute stillness. Above me, the storm clouds parted not naturally, but as if drawn aside. And in that sudden clarity, I saw it. A point of light, brighter than any star, pulsing in rhythm with the 3 beats from the chamber beneath the Sphinx. It wasn't a satellite, it wasn't Venus, it was watching. The Egyptian government doesn't ban pyramid climbing because of erosion. They ban it because something responds. They restrict access to the Osirion, seal the tunnels under the Sphinx, and confiscate drones. Not out of bureaucratic caution, but because they've seen what happens when the wrong people look too closely. Because Giza isn't a tomb, it's a machine, a receiver, a countdown clock set in stone, and it's nearing 0. The travel guides won't tell you this. The archaeologists won't publish it. The tour operators will laugh you off the bus. But the Bedouin, the night guards, the old women selling jasmine near the Mena house, they know. They've felt the hum in their bones. They've seen the lights that aren't stars. And now, so have I. I left Egypt with no photographs, No artifacts, no proof, only notes encrypted in a cipher of my own design and a black stone that warms when held near running water. But Giza left its mark on me. Not physically, deeper. Sometimes, in the quiet before dawn, I wake to the sound of 3 slow beats. Steady, ancient, inevitable. And I know the ascent was never about climbing stone. It was about remembering. Because the real forbidden thing isn't the place. It's the truth that we were never alone, that we were prepared for. That something waited for us to build the eyes, the ears, the hands, so it could finally come home. And Giza, the oldest sentinel on Earth, is the beacon. Don't look up, look down. Listen, it's almost time. James Healy disappeared from his Cairo apartment on the 12th of December 2025. His notes were found on an encrypted cloud drive, timestamped the night of a lunar eclipse. Authorities listed it as voluntary departure, but those who knew him say he didn't vanish. He answered a call. And if you stand at the base of the Great Pyramid at exactly 3:33 a.m. on the winter solstice, you might just hear it too.